Finn Balor planning WWE Icon's return to dethrone Dominik? The Monday Night Raw that followed SummerSlam 2025 proved to be anything but a victory lap for the Judgment Day. Instead of the dominance they projected for the better part of the year, they were met with setbacks, missed opportunities, and the looming shadow of deeper internal change. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, who had been riding high with momentum, stepped into the ring with the hopes of reclaiming the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Their fight was fierce, their chemistry evident, but in the end, they failed to capture the gold. And with that defeat came a ripple through the ranks of the Judgment Day. While that match's result was already a disappointment for the faction, the night's undertones hinted at something far more impactful on the horizon. Among the whispers and speculative glances backstage was a name that has long been synonymous with greatness in the WWE: Rey Mysterio. But this time, it wasn't in the context fans are used to. There are now signs pointing to the shocking possibility of Rey Mysterio returning to WWE television not as a beloved legend or mentor, but as the potential new leader of the Judgment Day and the very catalyst for a dramatic shift in the future of his own son, Dominik Mysterio. Dominik has spent the past year redefining himself within the WWE universe. No longer just Rey Mysterio's son, he's become a full-fledged superstar in his own right. With the Intercontinental Championship securely around his waist, Dominik proved at SummerSlam that he's more than capable of handling the company's biggest names, having secured a decisive victory over AJ Styles at the biggest party of the summer. With this win, his momentum has only grown stronger, and his status as a major player in the company feels more secure than ever. Yet despite his success, Dominik's journey has not been one of simplicity or straight lines. His character, once booed out of arenas, has slowly begun to see a shift in how fans receive him. In recent weeks, crowds that used to shower him with jeers now respond with mixed reactions. Some continue to chant against him, clinging to his days of betrayal and arrogance. Others, however, have started to see a new light in him, one that suggests a transition may be on the way. A face turn, long speculated by fans and analysts alike, is beginning to look less like a distant possibility and more like an inevitable evolution. Dominik himself recently spoke about this potential transformation. In an interview with WrestleRant, he addressed the swirling rumors and buzz around his character shift. According to him, a face turn isn't something that can be manufactured overnight. It has to grow organically, through his work, his story, and most importantly, the fans' connection to him. You can't force people to cheer you, Dominik said plainly. It has to come from them. If it's not real, it doesn't work. That moment of honesty struck a chord with many who have watched his growth over the past year. Dominik Mysterio, once painted as the spoiled son of a legend, now speaks with the maturity and awareness of someone who understands the nuances of pro wrestling storytelling. He's no longer chasing the spotlight, he's earning it. One moment that added fuel to the fire of this potential face turn came during his recent appearance at an AAA event in Mexico. Dominik showed up unannounced to issue a challenge for an upcoming AAA World Championship match. As he took the mic and addressed the crowd, he wasn't met with boos or indifference. Instead, the Mexican fans embraced him. They chanted his name, cheered his passion, and celebrated his arrival as if he were one of their own. For a performer who has spent much of his recent WWE tenure being cast as the villain, that response signaled something profound. It was perhaps the first public glimpse of the Dominik Mysterio the fans may soon rally behind. Still, a babyface turn needs more than crowd support, it needs a compelling reason, a moment that tips the scales. WWE has always excelled at crafting stories around betrayal, redemption, and bloodlines. And now, it appears they may be preparing to use one of the most emotionally charged relationships in wrestling history, that of Rey and Dominik Mysterio, to complete the transformation. Rey Mysterio was once the heart and soul of WWE. With unmatched aerial skills and a reputation for integrity and perseverance, he became a role model for generations of fans. And for years, his storyline with Dominik has walked the line between fiction and reality. From tag team partners to bitter rivals, their dynamic has been layered with genuine emotional stakes. Dominik's turn on Rey and subsequent alignment with the Judgment Day marked one of the most shocking and dramatic chapters in recent WWE memory. But now, what if WWE is preparing to reverse the roles? There are signs that Rey Mysterio may soon re-enter the storyline not as a forgiving father, but as a man changed by betrayal, vengeance, and the harsh lessons of the wrestling world. Rumors have begun circulating that Finn Balor, the current Judgment Day leader and one of WWE's most manipulative minds, could be orchestrating a seismic shift in the faction's direction. What if Balor, sensing that Dominik's popularity is beginning to drift away from the group's dark and ruthless ethos, decides to replace him? And what if his replacement is none other than Dominik's father? The visual alone would be shocking: Rey Mysterio, the embodiment of honor, stepping out from the shadows not to embrace his son, but to take his place as the new face of the Judgment Day. Such a twist would not only throw Dominik's entire arc into emotional chaos but would also offer the perfect mechanism to trigger his full transformation into a babyface. Imagine the betrayal, the disbelief, and the heartbreak of seeing the very man he once wronged now siding with the faction that had been his refuge. From a narrative standpoint, this development could be genius. Finn Balor, ever the puppet master, could spin the narrative that Rey brings more legacy, more recognition, and more experience than Dominik. He could convince the group that Dominik is softening, that his growing connection with the fans is a liability. And in turn, Rey could be persuaded, or perhaps even coerced, into believing that the only way to teach his son a final lesson is by beating him at his own game. It would be full circle. Years ago, Dominik betrayed his father, joined the Judgment Day, and sought to forge a new identity by turning his back on the man who raised him. Now, that same faction could betray him in return, with his father stepping in to take the very championship that defines his success. The Intercontinental title, a belt with deep history and prestige, would be the centerpiece of this father versus son conflict, but the story would be about much more than gold. It would be about legacy, pain, redemption, and the brutal cost of ambition. And make no mistake, this storyline would do wonders for Dominik Mysterio's babyface transformation. Being attacked and exiled by the faction he called family, watching his own father align with them, and then being forced to claw his way back to the top would be the hero's journey that fans crave. WWE thrives on such arcs. It's the story of betrayal and retribution, of the fall and the rise, and Dominik is now in the perfect position to become its next great protagonist. In the coming weeks, as Raw and SmackDown unfold and we inch closer to the fall's marquee events, eyes will be on Judgment Day. Cracks have begun to form, both in storyline and in the audience's perception of the group. The dynamics are shifting, and WWE appears to be planting seeds for a major shakeup. Whether it's Finn Balor's cold calculations, Rey Mysterio's unexpected heel turn, or Dominik's emotional journey away from the shadows, the road ahead promises to be riveting. Dominik Mysterio, once seen as a mere extension of his legendary father, has grown into a performer who carries the weight of expectations and exceeds them. Now, as the wrestling world waits to see where his story goes next, the possibility of a full-fledged babyface turn feels more real than ever. And with Rey Mysterio potentially returning not to reconcile but to reignite the feud in the most shocking way imaginable, WWE is crafting a tale of family, betrayal, and redemption that could define its narrative direction for months to come. The fall of the Judgment Day as we know it may be imminent. But from its ruins could rise Dominik Mysterio, not as the villain fans love to hate, but as the resilient hero they've unknowingly been waiting to cheer.